all his goals.
Or I saw them. Did you guys did it yet?
Yeah, I didn't check the video. I could graduate next. I could graduate right now.
How much do you have?
I have 2.5.
If it's extra, you're fine. You're good. You're good. If it's extra points, you're good. You save all of them. Like where I'm going.
Hey, Miss Jackson, take me down to eat. I'll pay for you. I only have oranges in my backpack right now. I don't want to kill it. I'll kill it for you. No, that's not food. I want some food. I'm hungry. I'm gonna take debit card. This is a school, they should have visas.
The vending machines did.
Those don't even work. I wonder why they don't work. And someone just
Because
destroyed
they break it. Last year, I take the, and make the last shot there. Remember that, Tyler? Tyler, remember that? Remember like a couple years ago, people with Econ, that they, remember when the seniors shouted they won in the senior hall? Remember that you got free food?
What the heck? Somebody shattered the glass, and then all the food was taken.
Remember that one year Brian was here?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Did someone just take all the snacks?
Yeah.
And stuffed it? I would have took all of it. I would have like emptied my bag.
They were like, you know when the Catherine Water was like, where did this coming from? Remember that? They never got the free stuff back. Everyone was like, where did you all that stuff from? They're like, go look, it's near home.
Man.
It was on camera too.
It was on the camera? They're stupid. What the heck? My sister loves me. She put this in there.
There's smell.
No. I have a microwave for the store, but I didn't think I was going to bring one. But she actually cleaned my room. Put this in there. And do you get free food? Do you get free breakfast?
No. No, I'm not going. I'm just like need to go somewhere first.
To the bathroom?
Yes, but except the voice is closed, I think. I'll just wait. Which one is that? Right there.
He's not here, he's at work.
I'll stop first.
No, Nick. Or next was at work. That's Tyler. Did you really?
I know
I
that.
do 6 days.
Wait, when you leave, do you get lunch? Or you have to come back? You come back?
I come 11. Come back 11.
So you
Come
come
back.
back.
Last card. Watch this.
Are you gonna eat your breakfast, Tyler?
How can it be?
How do I look?
I already did.
Can't eat shit. How do I look?
Oh no.
Like right here, I'm just looking at myself.
We should see for the workability class. Oh yeah. There's only 3 people. But that's a small class.
Oh, 4 actually.
4. I don't know.
They might be.
What are you doing after this?
That's not work.
Yesterday he got kicked out when Chris wasn't here.
Who? Who got this?
You would have made it. Right here, Senator. If you want something to throw right there, give it to me. And I'll throw it right there, like a basketball.
Yeah,
He's gonna make me stand up for the park sound. Chris
I
got
don't
it.
know how to do this thing.
what?
Like, remember I talked about the keyboard?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gone.
I don't know what.
Tyler, let's have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tool. Challenge you.
Do you have Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Tyler?
No.
You do?
No. Do you, Andrew?
Not now.
How does your hair grow that fast?
Me?
It's well, I think it's fake.
It's probably, it's a wig. What?
You guys
Something funny I said?
A wig.
Hey, like the dog dancing.
Why should Tyler stop giving it to us?
Hey, it's dancing dog.
Let this out.
Hi. Whose food is this?
That's Tyler's. But don't worry, don't play it.
Okay, well,
Don't
why
say a
are
word,
you
okay?
getting tipped over?
What do you mean?
What do I mean? Tyler, there's an empty juice container that's laying on its side. Right. So why don't you pick that up like immediately in case something spills out of it? Obviously, I know nothing spilled out of it. That's not the point. Plus, it's on a desk. It's on a chair. What if someone walked in and wanted to sit there? Could they sit there? No. So just pick it up, take it out of the garbage, throw it away. You didn't though. I'm telling you to do it next time. This is all about next time. First of all, hello. What?
Good morning.
Good morning. He erased my freaking thing!
No, it was like that on Monday morning we walked in and we know one was in.
Ah, so there's probably a group that was in this weekend. That was, okay. That's probably what happened. I think there's a class. I wanted to go over it. Obviously,
You left the
there's,
corn.
no, I drew that this morning.
It's not our fault.
Okay, so it's not there. I want to ask you guys things. Imagine that drawing. You guys remember the drawing? Here, I'm going to write home, store.
Mall.
That'll be store. And we got connecting all of these things. So I'm going to ask you guys if you see, because I'm going to ask you guys to make up your own economic graphic for me. And I want it to make sense. Okay? So, and then when you guys list the various things, and I might give you a blank one, and I'll give you a bunch of words, like you'll get something that looks like this, and it'll have corn, it'll have, maybe a gas station. And I'm going to have a bunch of words on a separate sheet of paper on the bottom of the paper, and it'll be bulleted, and it'll say things like infrastructure. So right now, if you guys look here, it doesn't really have anything. Well, it has some things. Oh, and then of course you got people. And people represent, whenever I draw one person here, they represent a body of people. Got it? What do I mean by that, Devin? One person represents a body of people. What does that mean? Does that make sense?
A mass.
A mass of people, so that if I say, hey, a person who lives in a home is what? They potentially could be what? Now I want you to think in economic terms. They are a?
Family.
That's not an economic term, but you're right.
Oh.
They are a, in economic terms, you live in a home, what are you doing? Think economy.
Cooking.
Nope. But you're cooking so you can do this.
A citizen.
Nope. What?
Live.
Nope.
Purchase.
Purchasing, which is what? Starts with the C.
Consume.
You're a consumer. A person who lives in a home is what?
Purchasing.
We already got consumer. What else can they potentially be?
Wants versus needs.
You're just throwing stuff out, and that's good. At least you're throwing out stuff that has to do with econ. Okay? Wants versus needs. Yeah, I mean, it's tied to that. Look, guys, everything is interrelated. Your wants versus your needs are going to be driven by what? What are your wants?
Everything.
No? Well, okay, yeah. Fair enough. What are your needs? Give me one need. What do you need to survive?
Food.
You need food. Give me another need.
Air.
Shelter.
You need air, shelter. All right, so food and shelter.
Heat.
Your wants, hold on. Yeah, that's part of shelter. Your wants, I'm going to go back to you. Food. Give me a want that's related to food.
Candy.
Candy. Give me a want that's related to shelter.
A house.
A house. A house as opposed to what, Devin? Well, you could live in a house or you could live in a apartment. There you go. So those are wants, okay? Based on needs. Now, I have a question. Candy, a house, or an apartment, you guys consume these things. What do you give in return?
Taxes.
Ah, in order to pay taxes, you have to have what? You have to have a job. So let me go back to this. Person who lives in this house is potentially what?
Working.
Give me economic terms.
Going to.
Give me economic terms. How do you think about this person in economic terms? Consumer is one of them. What else do they potentially represent? Look at the board here.
Resources.
A resource.
Human resource.
A human resource.
Labor.
A laborer. You guys see how this works?
Yeah.
So then if I point to this, what am I pointing to?
Yeah. Streets.
Okay, so it's the road, but we don't call it road, right? Because in order to get it from the corn to the factory to the store, into your mouth, what do you need? What's the resource you need?
Transportation.
You need transportation and infrastructure, specifically transportation infrastructure. Infrastructure. How do you pay for transportation infrastructure, Samantha?
I work there.
Okay, so you work. How does that pay for my ability? I know, right? For my ability to drive on roads.
You'd have to have gas. Money for gas.
No.
Taxes.
Taxes. It's through your taxes that transportation infrastructure is created. Now, it's also through Congress or the president, the executive branch. How do they determine transportation infrastructure, Nico? President Trump's, the bill that he is promoting includes transportation infrastructure. Oops! Did I just say too much?
No.
So how does Congress or the executive branch, specifically the president, determine Transportation infrastructure.
Laws.
Laws that relate to what? You guys ready for this? Look at me. Look at me, please, so I know you're listening. Spending. Appropriating. Okay? When you read, or you hear about appropriation committees are convened to determine, okay, here's millions of dollars, here's how we're going to spend it. Here's where it's going to go to. Here's what we're going, and then they determine things like equity, or they determine things like expenditure based on law. For example, you guys have brought up before that, how come, and I brought it up too, they spend a lot of money on PAC, but it doesn't go to other things in the school, right? Well, that money was appropriated only for new improvements. None of that money, the $20 million, $15 million, whatever it was that the school got, was to be spent on paper and pencils and new desks for you guys. It was only on new construction related to school improvements. You guys following me?
Like building the school.
Like building the PAC, the Performing Arts Center. Okay? And the principals were supposed to, through a committee of stakeholders, that'd be teachers, parents, students, other administrators, they presented to the district a project, a major project, and ours for real was the PAC. And then they had other things that they determined they needed money to be spent on. New lockers, new locker rooms, new PD department, things like that. Okay, so appropriation. So Congress, the president, can create laws related to spending on things like infrastructure. Vending machines, now we're getting way too particular, but do you guys know how vending machines, here in the state of California, how a governmental decision affected you guys in vending machines? I don't know, because you guys might take it for granted. Hold that thought. B14? Hi. Okay. Okay. I don't know how to log into Google Docs. Does he have a Google account? We'll ask him. Well, then he needs to open up a new account. That's how you log into Google Docs.
Yeah.
Tell him I told him he's a ding 5.
Ding 5.
Okay. Yeah, if he forgot his password, then how the hell are we supposed to help him? Once what he needs to do is open a new account if he forgot his password, and then he can get access to Google Docs that way. So he knows how to do Google Docs. He just forgot his password. Yeah. Yeah, it's like point that out to him. That shouldn't be our problem. Okay. Have a nice day.
Mr. Wallace, I have a question.
Please ask.
When is what day in February are we going to do the ARC?
Okay, that was asked earlier.
When's the date on that?
Let me-
I want to put that in my calendar.
Give me 1 second. I might be able to give you an answer right away, or very soon.
Yep, same question you had, he's gonna look into it right now.
Because I want to put that
And
in.
now that there's others, not that I didn't, I was going to do it during my prep today, and then I realized now that I'm not going to be here, so let me do this now.
Shoot.
1 second.
You're not going to be here 5th period?
No, I'll be here 5th. I'm not going to be here during my prep. Okay, so here we are. I don't know. This is just a list of names. 1 second. I'll call a counselor. Was someone sitting in my desk chair?
Yeah.
Quit shining that damn thing in my eyes, Libby. I mean, could it be any more obvious? You're like,
That's what you do to all of us with your
Wait a
robot
second.
pointer.
Oh, yeah, I do that.
Yeah,
No
Mr.
judges.
Alright. Yeah, but I'm the teacher.
You have no rights.
We have no rights.
Chris.
Oh, no.
I didn't make this. My friend's
Damn it.
Do the office work.
Huh?
Do the council and office people. For an office people. Let me give it to him so.
Okay.
The pedal.
Yeah, I use the wheel.
Oh, yeah, the wheel. The wheel.
This one was my friend's, he didn't want it, and then this one someone's gonna throw away. So I saved these, and then I made these.
Break my.
But this one was already fired. And
Oh, you know what? The counselors are all in
This one's
classes
my favorite.
today, 7503.
It is pretty.
Why?
Reminds me of like the ocean. Yeah.
And
What was
this
that
one-
movie on the wall?
If the foot is deep enough, you can do that with the snake. So it could be on Sunday.
Hi, Real Counseling Office. Is this Damaris? Hey, Damaris. This is Wallace. Do you know the date of the ARC field trip for juniors?
Seniors.
Oh, I'm sorry, seniors. Yeah, the date that the counselors, I guess it's being sponsored through the counseling department. I thought so too. Okay. Thank you. I think they already had it. I remember students going on that, you know.
I think they already had the field trip.
Yeah.
That's what I just said.
I just remember we made a list.
Right.
Yeah, it's right there on here.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But I think that,
We never left.
well, we did make the list.
Well, I didn't know.
Yeah, he has it too.
So, remember that, okay. Got you.
I'm like following the dust.
My leg's moving.
Thank you very much. Okay, so what happened is the list was created in November. The trip took place in October. So there was one. Yeah, and so listen, what they're talking about is they're trying to arrange one in the spring.
Oh, okay.
So that list was for people,
That are interested.
if it happens, we don't have a date,
Okay.
okay?
Well, good.
There has
thing.
been no date established. They don't know if there's going to be one. They're trying to arrange one. Now listen, you guys,
A question mark on my list.
you guys can always go on your own with your parents, and I can give you contact information of people there, okay? If you guys, look at me this,
No, I'm mad.
if you, why?
Because I was
Because
excited.
they want to go with me.
God.
Maybe I should do a field trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought we were gonna do.
Maybe somebody could like quit shining freaking light in my eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, but that wasn't my field trip. So that this thing that you thought, that was through the
I thought it
counseling
was your
department.
field trip.
Now, listen, for me to have a field trip, it's a real pain in the ass for me.
So you did what you were asking.
Now,
Why?
I
Because
wanna-
you have to get the permission slips and sign.
It's, and then I got it, so I have to secure transportation. In the past, I've been denied transportation, yeah. But what I could do is, what's that?
So I can list the van.
Well, I got a van, but there's no seats in the back, there's like a bed, curtains.
No, we actually have a real van. Close-seater van.
No, I don't have.
Dr. Prowse, the Mr.
Do
Prowse
one of
man.
the
Like the Proud families.
You guys just stop. Don't freaking put me on the same freaking level as that guy. Back to this. Okay, so we got transportation infrastructure. Oh, and then you know what? I'm gonna go gov, Because it's through gov that the tendrils, whether it's local or it's state or it's federal, government plays a big role in a lot of this stuff. Not only as an employer of people, which has an impact on the economy. And when you think about government workers, right? You're not just talking about Congress, folks. You're talking about highway crews like Caltrans. You're talking about the entire military. The entire military. You're talking about teachers for public schools. You're talking about police, fire departments.
The law.
You guys follow me? The U.S. Postal Service. Government in the state of California is a huge employer. You're talking about prisons, if the prisons are state-run. Here in California, that'd be the CDC, California Department of Corrections, huge employer. We put away cell phones, please? Thank you. Okay? So when I say, so not just, and what pays for government again, Devin? What pays for government?
Taxes.
Your taxes, your income. So government pays for itself. So like, if I'm a worker, say, like I'm a soldier, and I'm making X amount of dollars a month, I'm paying taxes into my paycheck. You know? And that government pays for a lot of services, and that government allocates services, and appropriates services, and assigns services. Okay, give me an example of a service, Andrew. Give me a definition of a service, anyone, and then Andrew, give me, what's the definition of a service? A word, what's the A word? The word is activity. A service is an activity that provides something for someone. It's an activity that we purchase, either as a consumer, okay, or we purchase through basically the government. So service provided by the government would be something like what? What do our tax dollars pay for that we get to use as a public that the government provides? Something like what? Amazon is not a government service. What would be a government service? I just said a bunch if you guys were listening. Hello, who am I? So education. This service is paid through your taxes. Hospitals are not.
Other private.
Hospitals are private. There are some, so what you guys have to understand, like here in Sacramento, UCD Med Center, the UCD Med Center it's an emergency center that if you're poor and you get shot in South Sac, they're not sending you to a nice hospital in Roseville. Now, if you get shot near a nice hospital in Roseville, they might see you.
There's no transfer.
Okay, then you'll get transferred to the UCD Med Center. Now, the UCD Med Center is a large research hospital, and a lot of the money that they get is funded by grants to the University of California system. Okay? And so, in a way, it's a type of, but just understand, like when we talk about socialized medicine in the United States, it is not. It is not. It is still a private industry. And when we talk about things like the Affordable Care Act, and then whatever the new Health Care Act is going to be, whatever manifestation it takes, it's still dealing with private insurers. Okay? It's just a matter of access. Access, and then what they do is, like here in California, you guys familiar with Covered California? So Covered California is they take, so think of it like a co-op, a cooperative. You guys ever been to a co-op before? Been to the Sacramento Natural Foods Co-op? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay. So I don't want to complicate this for you. So what you have is you have a bunch of people, a bunch of companies that fall under this umbrella, which is Covered California. Okay? And then those companies, now what they do is that they're providing services to people. They're providing coverage at a much lower cost depending on your income level. Now here's the thing. and this is why they wanted people to sign up. I want to go back to this. If there is a supplier, like let's say you all want, what's an item that, cell phones. The more cell phone providers there are out there, what's that going to do to the cost of cell phones?
Make it go up higher. Wait, what was the question?
The more cell phone providers there are out there, Samsung, Apple,
Oh,
Nokia, okay. Google makes cell phones?
yeah.
I didn't know that. The more there are out there, how's that gonna have what effect will it have on you as a consumer?
Different prices and more prices and higher prices. Different choices.
Are they only higher prices?
Yeah.
Okay, if I come to you and you sell for Google and you say, but it's gonna be $100 for this cell phone, and he works for Nokia, they sell for 95, where am I gonna go?
95.
And then she's selling for Samsung a cell phone for 75, where might I go? But then that cell phone's crappy, so I go to Devin who's selling iPhones for 77, and they're better. Where am I gonna go? I'm gonna go to Devin, and then Devin, because he's so successful now, what might that do to your prices if you want to be competitive?
Make them drop.
And what might that do to the quality of your phone so that you can be competitive? Because you're selling crappy phones.
Prices are down.
Well, they might go down, but what might you do to the quality of your phones to remain competitive? You might make them better. You guys see how that works? So what happens is, what the government was trying to push under the Affordable Care Act is, now, here's the thing. You're not going to have private insurers out there who want to join these umbrellas if they don't need to. If people don't sign up. Remember, the consumers drive, individual choices drive the economy. You guys know that, right?
Yeah.
We don't live in a communist dictatorship. We don't live in a socialist system. We live in a capitalist free market society. Consumer demand drives. Now, the only thing where government comes in is that we have government that will regulate so that in a free market capitalist society, big business does not abuse its power. Okay? But it's still consumers drive. So if more consumers, this is why they keep pushing. Look, the more people we get signed up, the more private insurers will join, the better it'll be in the end for your prices. Okay? That's one way to look at it. That's part of the cycle. So when I explained like this thing with corn the other day was to show you a cycle. And the reality is, what drives this is it goes all the way back here, guys. Who's this person right here?
You.
No. Who's that person right there? You isn't one of these freaking bullets. Who is that person right there?
Consumer.
The consumer. The consumer that, listen, if consumers stop going here to the store, what's going to happen to the corn?
It's gonna get old.
It's going to sit there on the vine and it's going to die.
Right.
And that's going to drive the prices down. Actually, here's the thing. There's some paradoxes that exist. If consumption goes down, you guys are going to learn about this soon enough. If consumption goes down, as a business owner, what do I have to do to my prices to recoup what I've lost based on the fact that people aren't buying? There's a certain point where I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to have to either close, I'm going to have to go bankrupt maybe, or close operations. I'll stop producing, or I'll have to change what it is I produce, or I'll have to change the prices. So if I have fewer consumers, how do I maintain a profit margin? If my prices go down and I have fewer consumers, am I going to be able to maintain a profit margin?
Yeah, if you give some away free and let them see how it tastes, so they can buy it.
You're talking about marketing. No. Okay, so listen, here's the deal. This pen costs $1, okay? And you're going to sell these pens here at school. Now, here's the thing. This pen, hold this pen, please. This pen costs 50 cents. So where's everyone gonna go?
Right.
Okay. Now, there's still people, Devin, you like my pen, right? Devin likes my pen, and he doesn't want that pen because it's 50 cents, but you pay for what you get. Right? That's a cheap pen. Please stop. Are you kidding me? So here's the deal. Now, I've lost, though, my consumer base. I've lost my profit margin. I got people who are relying on me to keep them employed. Got it? What am I going to have to do to the price of this pen to make up for the loss of consumers?
Make it like 150.
I'm going to have to increase the cost. That's a paradox. Thank you. The idea is the lower you drive your prices, the more people might buy. But then the higher, but there comes a point where you can't do that. You'll lose your profit margin entirely. And if you're a company, a big corporation, your whole charter, your whole reason for existence is to make a profit. Okay? So you're going to have to figure out, you guys hear the news about big news in the world of motorcycles. You guys hear about this? And stock prices are plummeting because of it. There's a company that was doing really well. You guys didn't hear about this? Harley Davidson stocks. They're talking about plant closures.
Really?
And their stocks have plummeted. This is a big deal because a lot of people, do you guys know where Harley Davidson is based out of?
No.
No? Based out of Wisconsin, which now the unions in Wisconsin had their feet cut out. You guys remember that? The governor of Wisconsin? Okay. I'm not saying there's a correlation, but this is a state where unions were neutered, and now Harley Davidson is needing, they're based out of Wisconsin.
Interesting.
Okay? And this is important because it's an American company. It is an American brand.
It would make Harley Davidson much more valuable.
It could. See, that's the paradox. So we have something called the paradox of demand. Here's the thing. Now, this pen, nobody's probably going to spend $1.50 on this pen if you can buy a comparable pen for 50 cents. But sometimes there's things that really don't have much value, but people are willing to pay money for them. That's called the paradox of value. Okay?
Especially if they don't make them anymore. There's only a few.
Yeah. So the paradox of value is that there are some things that the value increases even though its use, its utility. Here, I'll throw out one for you guys. You ready for this? Diamonds. Can you eat diamonds?
No.
Do you need diamonds to live?
No.
Yeah, they're really, really freaking expensive. Really expensive.
It's the rarity.
I got diamonds.
They're pretty rare, so that's why the price is.
And people buy them. They're gonna buy them. Right?
And gold, like grilled.
Okay. People will buy them. People will maybe, like, they'll say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna buy a diamond ring for my loved one. I want to propose to this person. And so what that means is I have to eat beans for the rest of the year to afford it. Well, people make those decisions, right? I mean, that's an extreme. I'm using this kind of ridiculous example. But people, for example, will say, I want to buy a house. Hey, me, right now, I've stopped eating out. Have you guys heard me recently? I know that not all of you are here for second period, but you guys who have me first period, have you heard me say I've gone out to eat? I've gone out for burritos at El Forastero. What do I eat now? You guys even listen to me in the morning? What do I eat now? Am I eating at home?
Yeah.
Every time I stop, did you come back to apologize to me?
Yeah, actually did.
Did you really?
Sorry.
Hey, we're cool.
I know.
I could tell I needed to stop, and I didn't, because I wanted to push you.
It's fine.
I wanted to push you because I was testing you. And I was testing you because I thought it was important that you embrace the lesson I was trying to test you on, okay? That takes a man, it takes a man to say he's wrong and to apologize. I really appreciate that, okay? And I don't appreciate it, like on a personal level, I appreciate that. But more importantly, I think it's really cool that you're willing to do that because that shows growth as a person.
Okay. I'm just sorry about lashing out.
Okay, now get the hell out of here before I kick your ass.
See you all.
Have a nice day.
Where are you going for your prep?
I'm gonna go home and check on my son.
Oh.
I'm gonna make him some tea.
Did you hear
Tell him
what
I love him.
Did you hear what Miss? I don't think you were here, but Miss Chris said that his son's sick.
Yeah, I was gonna ask something, but anyway.
Yeah.
So, listen up. My changes in my diet both address health and the economy. I want to save some money. I have some visions for the future, and part of that is, so when I was talking about the whole diamond thing, now I'm not going to buy diamonds, but there's something that I want, there's two things. I want a pile of money for a purchase, and I also want an emergency fund. And I don't have an emergency fund. I don't have an emergency fund that has enough money that I want in it. So I'm trying to create that. And in doing so, I'm making choices about what I eat. So I'm eating at home more often. I'm going to, like, I think I told you guys, not the dollar store, but a place that's as inexpensive grocery outlet. I've been buying food at the grocery outlet in Grass Valley when I go to pick up my kids. Okay? So I've been making choices related to economic choices as a consumer. Okay? As a laborer, I might make some choices. I might take on another job. I might, this summer, I'm thinking about maybe getting back into construction and working especially on the weekends. I already work in the summer. They tell you teachers have summers off. I haven't had a summer off yet. I've been teaching for 14 years at the high school. Okay. But that's a personal choice of mine. All of these things, and when I save money and I'm able to spend, that affects everybody else. That affects the type of options that are out there, and obviously I'm just a tiny, tiny drop in the bucket. But she's a drop in the bucket, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you, Andrew, and Nico, we're all drops in the bucket. You add all those things together, we all take part in the economy. Okay? So I want you guys to understand how the economy works, to understand all of the interconnectedness, and then to understand how your own personal, your micro economies, your micro choices can affect you, that they have consequences. That ignorance can affect you. To be ignorant can have consequences. Okay? You guys know that I just got my first paycheck of the year, of the new year, and I just saw an increase in my paycheck. This is the tax break that President Trump promised. And I look at that and I think, I'm happy, that's cool. Now, my increase means what for the American people?
More labor.
Maybe for me, but for the American, let me question, what does that impact does it have? If I'm getting less money taken out, so my paycheck's bigger, what impact does that have on services?
They get less money,
Services get less money.
and they get less funding.
Service gets less funding. Okay?
Like the school.
So now it comes down to what? What's the A word? I used it earlier. Big word. What's that?
America.
No.
Equity.
No. That wasn't a word I said earlier. Appropriating. So now it's taking the lesser money and appropriating it. Where do we spend it? What do we spend it on? Military?
Yeah.
Social services? Infrastructure? Well, there's going to be less money to go around. You guys know where most of our spending goes? Here's what I'd like you guys to do. I'm going to give you guys, I still haven't got back my Secretary of Commerce thing from you guys. No one's turned that in. You guys need to know Secretary of that's Commerce, and here's another assignment. We're still on Chapter 2. I'm erasing that. We should actually be on Chapter 3, but I haven't officially assigned Chapter 3. We're in W4. Here's the other thing. Fed spending pie chart. I want you guys to use your gadgets. Does everyone have a gadget right now?
No.
Take them out right now. If you don't have one, you're going to have to do this. But everyone who has a gadget, take it out. Do you have a gadget?
No, not currently.
Not currently.
It's behind you, actually.
Yeah, mine is low on battery.
So why don't you move over there? So you can leave it plugged in. And I'd like you guys to right now take out your gadgets. In fact, you've had yours out the whole time, so that's okay.
What are we doing?
No, because I need to.
I was kidding.
Do you know how to put money on your account at school without putting?
I would not do that over the phone at school. I would not. I was told don't do any bank transactions through
Yeah,
your
because you
phone.
know why?
No.
People will hack into your account. That's all
Because
it
you're on the school Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
you're on the school Wi-Fi, and then people like.
I would not do that. From my suggestion to you is don't do it. Now, if there's an emergency, what I would do is do this: call your bank
Or your
and do it
phone.
over the phone.
Because
Or go home and, some people don't even like, I don't mind doing it over the internet for myself. But I was told not to ever do it over the phone. Okay, back to this.
I'm not on the school Wi-Fi. That's
Here's your assignment. Here's your assignment. Hurry up. You go to grab a chair, pull up. I want you guys to find a government, a federal government